Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to give you a quick just walkthrough of how to use classic quizzes in Canvas. So first I want to show you what students might see with different types of questions. Okay, so there are 8 types of questions that you can choose from in classic quizzes. The first is, multiple choice. Got our true false. We've got our fill in the blank here. You can do fill in multiple blanks if you want. You've got multiple answers. So if there's more than one answer they need to click on, you can do that. You can also, I really like this one, multiple drop downs. So here I just have one drop down, but you could actually have multiple here. So, there's matching. I like these a lot for, just words and definitions. I don't know. And then there is the essay question. So there's just really a lot of different kinds of questions that you can use with the regular quizzes on Canvas. So now I just want to show you how to create these quizzes, how to work with the different types of questions. Some of them are a little bit more tricky than others, and then how to grade these, add a rubric, that kind of stuff. So here we go. So if you want to add a quiz, you could do it in a couple ways. You can just go to quizzes and hit new quiz. You can also just go to the module that you want to add it to. If you know you have a module to add it to, you can just go plus and quiz and the name here. Okay, at that point, this will show up. You can put your quiz instructions here. You can also add things here, like if you have a picture that you would like them to see or comment on, you can always upload an image. You can do, if there's a video they need to watch before they do the quiz, you can put a link in to that, external link. Lots you can do here in the instructions. Next, so if you are doing a survey instead of a quiz, you can always click that. I usually leave it on graded quizzes. If there is an assignment group you'd like to put it into, if you're doing assignment groups in Skyward, you can do that there. If you're syncing to Skyward, be sure to click that. Shuffling answers is, I think, important. So you can click on that if you need to, if you want to give them a time limit, if you want to allow multiple attempts. You can say how many attempts you want them to be able to have at it. If you want students to be able to see the correct answers. If you want only one question to appear at a time, if you want to lock questions after they've answered them, if you want an access code, I like this to just make sure that kids aren't taking the quiz early. And yeah, so it'll automatically assign to everybody, but if you, for some reason, only need to give it to, your second period class, or if it's like a modified quiz for kids, on IEPs, etc., you can also just type in individual students' names here and just assign it to certain students, which is pretty cool. A due date, if you want to sync your quiz to Skyward, you have to have a due date. This doesn't mean that kids can't access it after the due date. Like, kids can still turn it in late, but having a due date allows it to sync to Skyward, and also means that it shows up with a due date in their to-do list on Canvas. If you do want to lock the quiz, or if you want to create it and have it published but don't want kids to be able to see it yet, you can use this. And this is where you can say, okay, I want this quiz to show up for them at this time, and I want it to be locked at this time. So that's an option too. Okay, so once you have filled out all of that, you'll hit save. Okay, and then once you've hit saved, it'll kick you back here. And I recommend hitting save after you've made all those decisions, because you don't want to lose them. So get all that information figured out on that first page, then hit save. Then you can go back to edit, and that's where you can start to put in the questions. Okay, so now as quickly as possible, I want to explain how to create each type of question. So the first thing you'll do is hit new question, and we are going to start with multiple choice. So this one is pretty straightforward. You're going to put the question here and then as many possible answers as you want to. So we're just going to put some numbers to go fast. Okay. If you put those in and you're like, well, actually 3 is the right answer, you can always move that, but you have to just double check, make sure that the green arrow is pointing to the correct answers. You can add a lot of these. So if you want more than 4 multiple choice questions, you can do that. And then when you're done, always hit update question. The next type of question is super straightforward. We're going to do true, false. So we're going to go here, put our question in here, and then you just indicate whether it is true or false. By the way, with this one, something that you can do is you can have comments ready to go for whatever students choose. So if a student, said, oh, actually dark chocolate is better than milk chocolate, so they incorrectly chose false, you can click here, incorrectly chose false, then you click here and you can leave them a comment that will automatically pop up at the end of the quiz so that they can, make some corrections to their thinking. Okay, and if you do that, be sure to hit done and update question. All right. So the next type of question is also pretty straightforward. We're doing the fill in the blank. So we'll put in our question here. And then here you're going to give them or put in some possible answers. So, a kid might correctly say wax here, or, they might correctly say candles. So you can give as many possible answers as you want to so that, yeah, or you can just do one. Okay, so this next one is a little bit more tricky, but we're going to do one called fill in multiple blanks. So if you want to give your students, a sentence with 2 blanks and they have to just type out words that fill in those blanks, then you start with, you have the sentence, and then what you have to do, and it kind of has the instructions here, but you need to type in a reference word with no spaces surrounded by brackets. So if I have, Milky Bars are made up of caramel, and then I want students to fill in a blank here, I'm going to say blank 1. I don't know, it's going to make sure that with the brackets, if you have multiple, you're doing multiple blanks here, that each bracket is named something different. So don't just say blank, blank, blank. Okay, so Milky Bars are made up of caramel, something, and blank 2. Okay, and then down here, this is where you will put in the possible answers that kids could type in that would be correct. So for blank 1, I'm going to put nougat and chocolate. And I'm going to do the same for blank 2 as well, because, they might do one first and the other one second. So anyway, there you go for that one. The next type of question is more straightforward again. So this one is multiple answers. You're going to put your question here, and then you are going to put as many answers as you'd like to here. Okay, so I am wanting them to choose the 3 worst candies, so I'm probably going to have, several options here, and I'm not going to write them out, but after you get your answers in here, the possible answers, you need to make sure that you click next to the ones that they need to get correct. So here, this one, this one, this one. So make sure that you click on those so that you grade correctly. All right, so this next question is a little bit more tricky. It is called multiple drop downs. So just like the fill in multiple blanks above, you need to, if you want to do multiple drop downs, you need to make sure that you have brackets around where kids are going to have options. Also, it says multiple drop downs, but if you want to just do one, you can also do that. So there we go. Okay. And then same thing, or very similar to the other one, for, answer, you're going to put all of the possible answers here and do the same for that's not going to work. Do the same for the other one as well. And then again, those will be drop down, so kids have to just choose from options about what goes in those links. The next type of question I'm going to show you is matching. But before I do that, by the way, I have made this mistake. If you've put in several questions and you've put in a lot of work, please just save every once in a while. Hit save. You'll have to click back on edit. But many times I have put in all these questions, and then for whatever reason, something happens, the internet or whatever, and all my work gets lost. So hit save every once in a while. Okay. All right. So the next question we are going to do is matching. So again, you'll put your instructions here, and then this is where you're going to have another answer. Put in the things to match. So you'll put the word here. Apparently I used one with Kathy once, and what they need to match it to over here. This is interesting. Okay, etc. If you want to put in a distractor to mess them up a little bit, you can put in another word, and so anyway, make it a little bit more difficult. Okay, now for the essay question. That one is very simple. Right here, essay question. You put your question here and hit update, and then that will be an essay question for them. Okay, the last one I'm going to show you is a file upload question. So you will put the question here and hit update, and it will ask them to upload something to this, whether it's a Word document or whatever. I want to show you, there's one other question that I just don't understand. It's called the formula question. If anybody wants a video about this, I might ask one of our math teachers who's familiar how to do this, but I tried to learn how to do it, but it is very complicated and strange. So yeah, let me know if you want to hear more about that question. It turns out there is one other question that I've never noticed or paid attention to because I am an English teacher, but there's one called numerical answer. So this one is straightforward enough that I can do it. So you can type in the question, and you can decide whether you want them to get the correct response within a range, like if you want to give them some leeway, or if you want them to have the exact answer, etc. Okay, so there's that one. All right, so when you are done, again, make sure you always hit save. If you are ready for students to see it, then you can hit save and publish, but I'm just going to hit save. And then a good idea is to take the quiz as if you are a student. So student view, I love this over here. I use this all the time just to make sure that what my students are seeing is what they should be seeing. So click on student view and go over here to modules, and then pretend like you are going to take the quiz. Okay, you can see, oh, I don't have an access code. I wanted to have an access code. Okay, and then yeah, just go through and you can put in the answers, and oh, see, I can see here that somehow I had 2 blank responses there, so I can write down, I need to go back and check what's going on with multiple answers. And there, okay, but you can take it and you can submit it, and something cool is then you can, you can see what your score is. And this has happened to me before where I've created the quiz and I put in all the right answers and I don't get a perfect score because I realized that, I accidentally didn't mark the correct answer as correct, and that kind of thing. So this is just a good thing to do so that you can make changes if you need them. Okay, so lastly, let's say that you, have a question, like an essay question that you need to grade manually in your quiz. What you can do is go to modules, click on the quiz, and go to SpeedGrader. Okay, this is what SpeedGrader looks like. This is cool too because you can also, I don't know why you would do this, but if you're like, oh, I actually do want to give a kid a point for that one, you can change the points manually here. So coming down, yeah, I did really bad on this quiz. And then you can also look at, I don't know where my essay question is. It's somewhere, but what you do is you can just decide whether to give them points or not and hit update scores. And then that kid will get the grade that you gave them. By the way, one thing I forgot to show you is you can decide how many points each question is worth. So if I wanted this one to be worth more than 1 point, I could put that here. Just always make sure that you hit update question and save when you're done. Okay, so that's it. I hope that was somewhat helpful to anybody who isn't familiar with these quizzes yet.